I'm 37 now, and life looks a lot different than it did a few years back. I'm currently married to Larry, who was once the other man in my life when I was still married to my first husband. We've officially been together for 5 years, married for 4. It's weird how life takes these turns, isn't it? Let's backtrack to the beginning. I met my ex-husband in college, and we got married young. He was always the hardworking type, ambitious and dedicated, which I admired so much about him. But as his career took off, it demanded more and more of his time. Our home life suffered, especially our intimacy. He was great in many ways, helpful around the house, made sure to carve out time for monthly dates, but emotionally and physically I felt neglected. Enter Larry. I met him when I was 31 at a friend's party. He was charismatic, charming, and really seemed to understand me. He made me feel seen and heard in ways I hadn't experienced in years. We started off as friends, but quickly our connection deepened, and 7 months later, we began an affair. I won't lie. It was exhilarating at first, filled with passion and the excitement of new love. But deep down, I knew the situation was complex and hurtful. Fast forward a bit, and my marriage couldn't withstand the secrecy. When my husband discovered the affair, I was faced with a hard choice. My feelings for Larry had grown so strong that when pushed to decide, I chose to leave my husband for him. We got a divorce, and not long after, Larry and I got married. The dream, however, started to show cracks pretty quickly. Our first 2 years were blissful, like living in a bubble. We were both working, using some of the settlement money I received from my divorce to enjoy life and solidify our bond. But then 2020 hit, and it hit hard. Larry's work dried up due to the pandemic, and suddenly I found myself as the main provider. Financial strain put a stress on us like never before. I took on 2 jobs just to keep us afloat, and even then, it was a struggle. We had to lean on my parents for support, something I never thought we'd need to do. The reality of our situation sank in further when we had to sell the house and car I got from my divorce settlement. We downsized to a cheaper place, squeezing every penny to save for a potential business venture as a way to turn things around. Starting the business was a desperate move, but thankfully, it began doing better than we expected. It was like once we shed all remnants of my past life, including the physical ties to my ex-husband, we could finally start to build something new for ourselves. It's been hard work and there are no guarantees, but we're holding on to the hope that things will continue to improve. About 4 months ago, I found out that my partner Larry was secretly taking money out of my savings. That's like if you had a piggy bank where you were saving up for something cool, and then you found out someone was sneaking some out when you weren't looking. When I asked him about it, he got really mean and said he didn't trust me. That's because before I was with Larry, I made a huge mistake in my previous marriage. I wasn't faithful. And since Larry was single when we got together, he thinks it's okay to keep some of my money for himself, just in case things go bad between us. Larry also doesn't help out at home at all. Imagine if you had to do all the chores and someone else just chilled, played games, hung out with friends at the bar, and didn't do anything to help. That's what's happening. And it gets worse. I recently found out he's cheating on me with a waitress from the bar. It really shocked me and made me super sad because I thought we were supposed to trust each other. Now, talking about divorce feels like a giant mess because we don't have a lot of money, and everything seems messed up. It's even harder than when I was with my ex-husband. Plus, Larry just quit his job, so things are really tight, and it's hard to pay for everything we need. I also have a daughter from my first marriage. She's 12, and tells me how awesome her dad is doing. They even went on a cool trip to Venice, which makes me a bit sad and jealous. I feel like maybe I didn't end things well with him. I did tell him the truth about cheating, and we split pretty amicably. He got to keep our daughter most of the time, and I got our house and car and to see her 5 days a month. But now I can't stop thinking about my ex. Maybe it's guilt, or maybe there's still love there, or maybe I'm just really mixed up because everything's a mess. I wonder if I should talk to him, but we only ever chat about our daughter, and I haven't seen him in person for a year and a half. Part of me thinks I'm a terrible person for cheating and breaking up a good thing before, and now my life's just falling apart. A small edit. I didn't left my daughter. My husband begged me to give him the primary custody as he realized he can't have it as he works in a very demanding job. I just wanted the house. But we came to a conclusion where he offered to give me money. Car and the house in exchange for primary custody. I feel guilty. Yes, but do I want to get back to him? No, because I know it won't be the right thing to do. I destroyed him and I am guilty enough. Now he rebuilt himself. I'm proud of him. My life is in shambles. And it is because of me. I take full responsibility. I just keep thinking of him because I miss him. I want to have a conversation with him and nothing more. This with the fact that the man I left him for is now having an affair and cheating on me is tearing me up. Now for the top comments before the update. Taking his money, car and house is the thing that stands out to me here. Anything else I can understand? But to screw him over that badly and now want him back? No sympathy. Having an AP is one thing, but treating your ex like an ATM after screwing him over. OP? It was a part of the deal we made. He badly wanted the primary custody of our daughter. But having the job that demanded much of his time, he knew it won't be happening. And I would probably get the primary custody of the child, which is why he offered this house, money, and car in exchange for primary custody of the daughter. He wanted this, not me. I told him over and over again. Surely I don't deserve a second of his time because I already screwed him. I know this. Nothing I can do can change this. I just can't stop thinking about him. Comment 2. We all make mistakes. At least you're now wiser. Start focusing on your life and better yourself. You should at least open up to your ex. Say you are sorry, but move on after. Good luck. Thanks. Comment 3. Your AP sounds like a total loser. I'm not sure why. If you left your husband, who sounds like a much better person, why you can't bring yourself to leave this moocher of a man. I don't get why anyone willingly gets with a man or woman who plays video games as if it's a full-time job and does not have an actual paying full-time job. OP. He wasn't like this during the affair, and when we went legit, he was understanding, ambitious, and a confident person. He actually gave me the attention I craved for my ex, which is why I took the leap. It turned out to be something that essentially destroyed my life, my ex, his life, and my daughter's childhood as a whole. Comment 4. Maybe he was hiding these bad traits from you by being the single dependable. I'll do anything for you, guy. To me, he sounds toxic. You just really need to cut your losses and move on. Also, I didn't really want to get into this as it's harsh, but you traded your daughter in for assets, and now you don't have any of those either. Your parents sound like they may be able to get you back on your feet. If I were you, I'd move in with them and stay solo for a long, long while. Edit. I hope that you get the help that you need to get past this from friends, family, a therapist, or even just a real talk with yourself about how this isn't a good relationship to be in. Good luck moving forward. Comment 5. I mean, nobody ever seems to say this to the man when they end up becoming a weekend parent. Is it crap? Absolute glee. But there is rarely a moral outcry regardless of circumstance. It's just assumed by society that a mother has more value than a father. Opie already ducked X over beyond belief. This is why going legit with younger kids in the picture is so fucking dangerous. And I hate that it's so heavily condoned in this group. It's such rash decision. Opie. As materialistic and narcissistic as hell. Yet if she posted prior to the divorce, this group would have egged her on and encouraged that she ruined her husband and the divorce. OP, for heaven's sake, I didn't traded my daughter. I still see her. I told my ex-husband I cheated on him and wanted to leave him. Do you think it was easy? He begged me to give him the primary custody of our daughter. I already shattered him enough. I already destroyed him. Do you think it would have been all right if I got the primary custody of our daughter while he received the cash assets and 50 ownership of the house? Things would have been complicated. I didn't want to mention about our daughter in the post. I'm already a horrible person and I'm getting shredded by both the memes and comments. And then in real life, my life is in shambles. I'm working 2 jobs and basically paying Larry the money he spends on his AP. Do you think this is easy? That being said, I deserve it. I deserve all of it because of the foolish decisions I made. When reality hits you, you realize how much crap you are taking on. All the hell broke loose on me, and it's awful. I realized I destroyed my ex-husband in all ways. About the trading I didn't trade. It was he who offered me the house, the car, in exchange for primary custody. He literally begged me for it. What? What have you done? If you were in my place, fight him in divorce for split custody, even after he begged you, even after he offered you, even after he promised not to tell our daughter anything about my cheating. I know what I did. It's way more tough for me than for you to say it. Even after everything, she is my daughter. I never gave up on her. I sure made foolish decisions that I'm getting punished for. Edit. Pardon my grammar errors. I'm not from US. I applaud you for admitting to your foolishness. Update 1. So a few months ago, I found out my husband Larry was sneaking money out of my savings. That's like if you had a secret stash of candy and someone secretly started taking pieces without asking. Pretty sneaky, right? I was upset, but it got even worse. Fast forward to last Thursday. I come home early from work because I wanted to surprise Larry with dinner. And guess what I find? Larry in our living room, but he's not alone. He's there with someone from his previous work, and it's not just any coworker. It's the assistant principal from the school where he used to works. And they were not just having a friendly chat. It was obvious they were way too close, sitting together on our couch like it was the most normal thing in the world. Larry saw me and wasn't even shocked. He just looked at me and said, "This is how things are now. You need to get used to it." Can you believe that? I felt like my heart stopped. I just stood there, not knowing what to say or do. That night, after Larry and his friend left, I called my best friend over because I really needed someone to talk to. We sat in my kitchen and I told her everything while trying not to cry into my ice cream. Then, she accidentally let it slip that a bunch of our friends knew about Larry's behavior. They thought I knew and was okay with it because, well, I had cheated in my past marriage. I felt so betrayed, like everyone was against me. Feeling like a detective in a mystery show, I decided to dig deeper into Larry's life. I found receipts and a lease for an apartment I never knew about. It turns out he's been renting a place across town under a fake name, and guess who's been staying there? The same assistant principal. It's like he had a whole secret life I didn't know about. Amid all this mess, my phone buzzed. It was my ex-husband, the father of my daughter. He was really concerned because our daughter overheard him talking about my situation and was upset. My heart sank. I hated the idea of her getting hurt by all this grown-up drama. My ex asked if we could meet to talk about how to handle things with our daughter, who's only 12 and shouldn't have to deal with any of this. It made me think about how things used to be with him, more stable and secure, even if we had our problems. Now here's the crazy part. Larry decided he needed space after all this blew up. He packed some bags and left, just like that, saying he wasn't sure if we even had a future together. And there I was, left to pick up the pieces of my broken heart and a broken home. I'm stuck wondering what I should do next. Should I try to fix things with Larry, or is it time to let go and start fresh? Maybe I should even talk to my ex more, not to get back together, but just to find some peace in all this chaos. One thing is clear, I need to focus on my daughter and make sure she's okay. Everything else is just noise compared to making sure she feels safe and loved. Update 2. Last week, I was just chilling at home trying to have a normal morning, sipping my coffee and scrolling through some emails. Then the mail came. I figured it was just the usual stuff, maybe some ads or the electric bill. But nope, there was this super official looking envelope mixed in. My heart sank a little because, let's be honest, good news rarely comes in envelopes that fancy. I opened it, and bam! It was like a lightning strike, but without any of the cool thunder. The letter was from a lawyer, and not just any lawyer. This was a lawyer hired by Larry, my soon-to-be ex-husband. Yep, Larry decided it's time to divorce, which honestly, I saw coming. But here's the kicker. He's not just looking to split up and go our separate ways. He wants to take half of everything I own, including my business and my 401k account. My business is like my baby, something I built from the ground up, and my 401k is all the money I've been saving for when I'm old and gray and want to relax a bit. Reading that letter, I felt all sorts of things, angry, scared, and just really, really stressed. How could Larry, who used to be my partner in everything, turn around and try to take all that I've worked so hard for? It felt super unfair, like being the main character in a movie where everything starts going wrong. After freaking out for a good 10 minutes, I called my sister. She's always been the one I turn to when things get rough. We talked for a long time. She was super supportive, telling me that I needed to stand up for myself and not let Larry push me around. She said, "You gotta fight for what's yours and show him he can't just take things from you." She also told me to get a good lawyer, someone who would help me keep what I've worked so hard to build. Now here's where it gets even trickier. Fighting this battle in court is going to cost a lot of money. Lawyers aren't cheap, and with the business already feeling the pinch from all the drama, customers can sense these things, you know? I'm sweating about how I'm going to pay for all this. On top of all the grown-up legal stuff, I'm also a mom, and my daughter is seeing all this happen. She's only 12, but she's so wise and kind. She sees me upset and comes over to give me the biggest hugs, telling me, "Mom, it's going to be okay. You're the strongest person I know." It melts my heart. She's my little ray of sunshine, and I've made a promise to myself that no matter how messy this gets, I won't let it mess her up. She deserves a happy mom and a stable life, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to give her that. So, what's next? Well, it looks like I'm about to step into a huge battle. I need to protect my business, my savings, and most importantly, keep my daughter's world as happy and safe as possible. It's going to be tough, but I've got my sister and my daughter cheering me on, and I'm ready to fight like never before. Update 3. Okay, so remember how I told you things were getting pretty crazy with Larry wanting to take everything in the divorce? Well, I thought that was as bad as it could get, but nope. Life had another twist waiting for me. Feeling really down and kind of lost, I started thinking a lot about my past, especially about Mark, my first husband. You know, he was the guy I was with before all this mess started. Things with him were pretty good at times. Stable, secure, and he was really kind. After the whole disaster with Larry, I started missing those good old days with Mark. I thought maybe, just maybe, there could be a chance to fix things, to maybe start fresh with him. So, what did I do? I decided to actually go and see Mark. Yes, I drove all the way to his house, my heart racing like crazy. I was super nervous but felt like I had to try, you know? When I got there, I took a deep breath and knocked on his door. When Mark opened the door, his face was a total picture of shock. Like he couldn't believe I was standing there. I got all jittery and started talking really fast. Hey Mark, I know it's been ages and a lot has happened. I've been thinking a lot about us, about our past and how we ended things. I'm really sorry for how everything turned out. I'm in a tough spot right now, and I guess I just miss how good things were with you. Do you think there's any chance we could talk about it? Maybe see if there's a way to start over? Mark looked at me like I had just turned up from another planet. He was clearly upset, and his voice got kind of loud. He said, "You think you can just show up out of nowhere and ask for a do-over? After all this time? After everything you did?" I tried to explain, to tell him how sorry I was, but he wasn't having any of it. It was like he had built up all this anger, and now it was all coming out. Before I knew it, he said, "I think you should leave. We've both moved on, and there's nothing left to say." And just like that, he closed the door right in my face. I stood there for a moment, feeling a mix of shock, sadness, and a ton of regret. Driving back home was rough. I was crying, feeling totally alone and unsure about everything. Why did I think going to Mark would help? What made me believe he might want to revisit something we had both left behind? Now, I'm sitting here back at my place, feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. I've got this messy divorce with Larry looming over me, trying to snatch away my business and my savings. And on top of that, I just got a major reality check from Mark, which really hurt. But here's what I realized. I can't keep looking back. I've got to face forward. Yes, I made mistakes, big ones, but I've learned from them too. I need to focus on the here and now, especially on being the best mom I can be for my daughter. She needs me to be strong, to be stable, and to show her that no matter how hard life gets, we can get through it. So the plan? I'm going to get myself a really good lawyer, someone who can help me fight Larry in court and make sure he doesn't take everything I've worked for. I'm going to pour my heart into my business, make it stronger and better than ever. And I'm going to spend every moment I can making sure my daughter knows she's loved and protected. It's not going to be easy, and I'm sure there are more challenges ahead. But I've got to keep fighting, keep pushing through. Because at the end of the day, I believe there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and I'm going to reach it no matter what. Update 4. So, where do I even begin? Just when I thought I had seen it all, life decided to throw me another sham, or maybe a couple of them. After the whole debacle with Mark shutting the door in my face, I felt pretty down in the dumps. But you know what they say, life doesn't give you a break just because you're feeling low. First things first, I had to tackle the huge problem of my pending divorce with Larry, who suddenly turned into a character from a villain movie, wanting half of everything I own, my hard-earned business and all my savings piled up in my 401k. It was like a nightmare where you're falling and just can't wake up. Determined not to let Larry take me down, I went on a hunt for a superhero. Well, a super lawyer, actually. I found Miss Carter, a lawyer who came with awesome reviews and a reputation for being tough as nails. The first time I met her, I spilled everything. The love, the betrayal, the sneaky financial moves by Larry, and his outrageous demands. She listened to all of it with this intense focus, jotting down notes faster than I could talk. After I finished my long, sad tale, she looked up, her eyes sharp, and said firmly, "We're going to fight this, and we're going to win. You're not alone." It was the first time in weeks that I felt a glimmer of hope. We planned our battle strategy meticulously, marking out every step we'd take to safeguard my business and my future. While Miss Carter was gearing up for the legal battle, back at home, things were getting pretty emotional. My daughter, who's only 12, was at my home after I asked my Mark to take her for one day. She seemed to pick up on the stress vibes. She started doing these little things to cheer me up, like leaving cute notes on my pillow or drawing pictures of us holding hands, super happy. It was sweet, but also heart-wrenching because she was trying to take care of me when it should be the other way around. It made me even more determined not to let this whole mess drag me down. I had to be strong for her and for me. Just when I thought I had a handle on things, there was a knock at the door one lazy Saturday morning. I opened it, not expecting much, and who was there? My brother, who I hadn't seen in years because of a massive family fallout. There he was, looking kind of awkward and nervous. He asked if we could talk. We ended up sitting at the kitchen table with 2 steaming cups of coffee between us. He told me he'd heard about my situation through the family grapevine, and felt it was time to put our differences aside and stick together, because, according to him, family should stick together. It was unexpected, but felt kind of nice to reconnect. He even offered to help out with my daughter whenever things got too hectic. Rebuilding bridges with my brother was like finding a safe harbor in the middle of a storm. It reminded me that even when things look really dark, there can be unexpected moments of light, people showing up for you, ready to help. So now, here I am, gearing up for what might be the fight of my life in court, but feeling a bit stronger with my lawyer and my brother by my side. I'm learning a ton about dealing with tough times, how they can really show you who's willing to stand by you and who you can really count on. Life is unpredictable, kind of like a wild. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but the ride always goes on. And as I brace myself for the next loop-de-loop, I'm holding on to the lessons I've learned, the people who are sticking by me, and the hope that after every storm, there's a little bit of sunshine waiting to break through. Update 5. The day started like any other stressful day. I woke up early, stomach all knotted up and my mind racing about the court hearing. I met Miss Carter, my lawyer, outside the courthouse. She looked sharp, confident, and ready to take on the world. Seeing her like that made me feel a bit better, like maybe we had a real shot at winning this thing. We walked into the courthouse together, the air heavy and cool. The courtroom was big and a little intimidating, with high ceilings and long, echoing sounds every time someone moved or spoke. I sat down trying to look calm, but inside my heart was racing like a marathon runner. Larry was already there, looking all serious and lawyer it up. His lawyer had this slick, smooth-talking vibe, kind of like those TV lawyers who can twist any story to make their client look like an angel. The judge called the room to order, and Larry's lawyer started off. He was really good at telling Larry's side of the story. He talked about how Larry had always supported me in my business, even if it wasn't with money. He painted a picture of Larry as this loving, self-sacrificing husband who just wanted what he thought was fair. Then it was our turn. Miss Carter stood up and presented our case. She was amazing, laying out all the evidence we had gathered, emails, financial records, everything showing that Larry hadn't contributed to the business and had been involved in shady stuff on the side. She spoke clearly and strongly, making it seem like we had the upper hand. But then, the unexpected happened. When Larry got up to speak, he was really emotional. He talked about how lonely he felt when I was busy with my business, how he felt left behind. He even teared up a bit. It was a performance worthy of an award, and it seemed to hit a nerve with the judge. The waiting for the verdict was the worst part. Time seemed to slow down, and every tick of the clock was like a thud in my chest. Finally, the judge made his decision, and it was like a punch in the gut. Larry won. He was awarded half of everything. Half of my business, half of my 401k, half of my world. It didn't seem fair. It didn't seem right. But it was real. Walking out of the courthouse, I felt like I was in a bad dream. Everything I'd worked so hard for, half of it was now gone, just like that. It was tough to take. Back home, I had to take some time to just absorb it all. My brother, who had been my rock these past few weeks, kept reminding me that this wasn't the end. "You're down, but not out," he said. "You can rebuild. You can come back stronger." His words helped, even if they didn't fix the hurt. Now I'm looking at what's next. It's going to be a tough road, trying to rebuild my finances and my business. But I've learned something important through all this. Resilience isn't just about fighting through the good times. It's about how you handle the hits in the bad times. I've got my daughter, my brother, and a lesson in toughness that no courtroom can take away from me. As I plan my next steps, I'm focused on recovery and rebuilding, not just my business, but my spirit too. Life threw me a curveball, but I'm learning how to swing back even harder. Last update. As I sit here typing this, a lot has changed since my last update. The dust has settled from the courtroom and life has found a new kind of normal, but it's a normal that came with tough lessons and some real soul-searching. Looking back at everything that happened, from my first marriage to Mark, the whirlwind and downfall with Larry, to the dramatic courtroom battles, I've come to a stark realization. If you have a good thing, especially a good relationship, it's worth more than gold, and it shouldn't be taken for granted. I used to think that the grass might be greener on the other side. Larry seemed like an exciting new chapter after feeling neglected in my marriage with Mark. But that adventure turned into a nightmare, one that cost me not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually too. Larry's charm was just a mask, and beneath it was a person I barely recognized by the end. The court's decision was a hard pill to swallow. Losing half of everything to Larry felt like a cruel joke, especially after everything came to light. But it was during these dark times that I found out just how resilient I could be. My daughter, with her endless optimism and love, and my brother, with his renewed support, showed me the true meaning of family and strength. So here's my piece of advice. If you have a good husband or a good partner, cherish them. Work on your problems together, communicate, and don't let small gaps grow into gulfs that can't be bridged. I learned the hard way that the excitement of new things fades, but the deep, abiding comfort of a shared history and mutual respect is rare and precious. I'm rebuilding now. My business, my life, my inner circle. It's not easy, and some days are harder than others. But I'm moving forward with a clearer understanding of what's important. I'm also giving back, talking to young people about my experiences, hoping they can learn from my mistakes rather than repeating them. Life is a series of chapters, and while some of my chapters have been pretty turbulent, I'm working on making the next ones full of peace, growth, and happiness. Mistakes are part of the human experience, but they don't have to define us. We can learn, we can grow, and most importantly, we can forgive ourselves and move forward.